Oh, Finland, 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 what have you done here? I get wanting to get in on the superhero craze which has swallowed planet Earth whole, but allow me to give you a few pointers on how to make a great superhero film. Man to country that no one seems to be able to find on an unmarked map. It's apparently between Sweden and Russia if you're interested. Firstly, Rendel needs a complete rewrite because it's a mess. There's a solid if highly unoriginal idea here about a person being wronged by a criminal organisation, having their family killed in front of them, being left for dead, before swearing revenge. Standard Punisher origin story 14A. Now there's nothing wrong with that except normally after the sickeningly perfect family's been murdered and the guy who was left for dead becomes
vengeance. I am the Knight. I am Batman!
etc. They either tend to have a training montage, or in a previous scene they mentioned that he used to be a champion boxer, shooter, MMA fighter, but Rendel doesn't. He just makes himself a mask of impenetrable stuff, literally puts on a motorcycle jacket and is suddenly a badass. Now, I don't know if you got Team America World Police in Finland, but trust me on this, you need a montage.
Even Rocky had a montage.
A mask of impenetrable stuff? Oh, yeah, apparently in Finland, criminal organisations have buckets of stuff lying around that bonds to your cells and makes them indestructible, with the proviso that once on and dried, it can't come off. Now, of course, a criminal organisation has no use for making its goons indestructible and instead just leaves the stuff hanging around because of reasons. Rendel decides to make himself a mask. Again, why would a vigilante want to make themselves indestructible? But that mask, which can't be removed or changed once dry, fully covers his mouth and nose, meaning that even if he can breathe under that thing, he seems to have no way to eat or drink, and as such he'd stop bothering the criminal organisation in a few days. It also means he apparently can't talk. And since the mask completely covers his face, you can't read his facial expression and as such have no idea what he's thinking. Again, I can't see why a vigilante who seems to die of hunger and thirst would want to be able to talk to people, so it's all good. Finally, he just seems to teleport everywhere, as he's never seen driving or being driven in his fights. Whoa, look, I get that the budget for this whole film would get you maybe 7 frames of Avengers Endgame, but how much does it cost to hire a fight choreographer? I've seen better fights outside my local pub on a Friday night. I mean, yikes. One fight at the end that had been built up over the course of the entire film ended, and I just burst out laughing and rewatched the scene 3 times to see if I'd missed something, but no. The big fight begins, ends, and I laughed loud enough to wake my wife up. But like I already said, the fights in this film suck. About halfway through, we get introduced to this standard super goon squad that's been brought in to replace the standard goons that Ali's been going through like a student through free beer, and Ali takes them all out in one fight scene where half of the deaths could have easily been accompanied by a wacky sound effect, and none of them had any impact since Ali is very rarely in danger of anything other than having to work out how to do a dry, cool one-liner when you don't have a mouth. Now, I suppose I should describe the plot, but it's a jumbled mess if I'm being generous and a complete irrelevance if I'm not, mostly because there seem to be 3 going on, and whilst the film is trying to link them all together, they just don't mesh very well. Basically, an evil organisation, which seems to consist of one guy on a tablet who can't afford any light bulbs, has decided to create a load of dodgy vaccines which are being made perfectly openly and legally in Finland, which would mean that as soon as the inevitably evil side effects are known, they'll be sued into oblivion and possibly jailed, but whatever. The vaccine company is run by a father and son duo, who seem to spend the entire film reenacting a terrible low-budget John Wick whilst also acting like they're in a bad 90s comedy for children. Anyway, along the way, they kill the family of an accountant, leave him for dead, who becomes Rendel, complete with mysterious friend, and starts taking their criminal organisation apart, but not the tablet guy's organisation. It's debatable he even knows that it exists. Oh, and the accountant story is told in flashbacks, but to be honest, could have been told in the first 5 minutes, allowed us to get on with the actual film, instead of wondering if this is the scene where the inevitable tragedy inevitably happens. It's all shot at night. The flashback element doesn't work with the other narratives, when you could have spent that time showing our lead doing some training. Our dull lead isn't balanced by any fun and interesting characters. He doesn't even seem to have a support network. I mean, there is another character in there, an investigative journalist, who might become big in the sequel, but didn't do anything here. Anything else? Well, I guess the film isn't completely hopeless. There is the occasional good moment. I did like the father character of the villain duo, but somehow the writer-director has managed to mess up one of the simplest plots in cinema. Hyvä työtä. Good job. So, really skip this. But what do you guys think? And what is your favourite low-budget, he killed my family and now he has to pay film? Comment below, let me know. I'm Daniel, it's been a donkey. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe.